Okay, test, test. Let's see if this sound works real quick before I get started here. I may not leave my mic on all the time. But just in case there's something interesting I want to point out. Basically what I'm doing here, I'm modeling Concourse C as Spokane for like the, sixth time? Although this time it's in Blender, so it's going to be fun. So I thought, well, I might as well live stream it, and hopefully have something that shows most of this project from start to finish, as far as Concourse C goes anyway. So I know that the live streaming, because of the speeds of my internet connections, it's really slow, relatively speaking, although it's probably a high speed for Idaho. It's pretty slow, so I imagine either the live stream isn't going to be that great a quality, or it has to buffer a lot. So I think more the purpose of the live stream in this case is you can still somewhat watch it live, but also it gives me the excuse to make mistakes because it is live. And of course it takes a lot longer to prepare for a tutorial than instead of just doing something. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started here, and hope you guys find this interesting. And incidentally, I did already measure the height of this building and get that set up, and now I'm working on kind of outlining parts of this, and then once I get this segment here done, I'll either knock out the entrance over here, or work on this bit. But I think my primary goal is probably all of this area here. I'm not going to do, I'll probably do this part separately, just because it looks like it's going to take some different texturing to accomplish that, mainly just windows. But again, this is all kind of one part here, because same kind of doors everywhere, like there and there, same wall texture with the concrete and these top things. So yeah, it's all kind of one part, so I'll just model it. Alright. Now again, this will take a while too, so again, this is just sort of something that might be interesting, might not be, but that's just how I do things. So I did a loop cut here, but I think, let's see, I need to find a better way to measure this, and I thought about writing it all down, or maybe recognizing some more clear pattern in the way these windows and stuff are laid out, because I want this to be as about as accurate as I can get it. So maybe what I'll do is measure these between these seams here. So tools, hopefully I can measure this. I might not be able to. Let's try maybe a line. Sometimes I'm not too sure which measuring tool to use here. 3D paths, maybe. Ah, there you go. So looking at the measurement up here, it looks like it's falling almost right on 3 meters. If I centered this one a little bit more, it's almost dead on. Yeah, so that's cool. So it would seem then that each of these pillars here are 3 meters apart from their centers. So that's a big help. Now I have this down scale, everything scaled down by half in Blender, so if that, you'll probably hear me say like, well, when something's 3 meters, I'll actually be thinking in like 1.5 meters because everything's scaled down by a half. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete these faces and kind of fill things back in as we go. And I noticed here there might be a little bit of extra wall stuff here. I'm not sure what they call it, guys. Metal. It looks kind of metallic and shiny. Looking at the reflection here anyways. Okay, so it's going to be like subtract a foot and then 3 meters all the way across. Looks like they just keep repeating straight to the end here. Okay, so one way to know of how close we get here is if we actually do that. So let's just make a line, and I still have these vertices here. That's okay. I'll move this one over. This one I'm just going to eyeball. So we have about that much excess on the end. And then I'll just make a face out of that. And maybe for now, I'm thinking about this separating this object. This edge anyways. So I'll select it, separate it, and then I'm just going to use an array. So wrench, array modifier, we'll want to make sure the origin is transformed to the geometry, so origin to geometry. That'll make sure our offset and the array modifier will work right. And our offset, of course, is going to be 1.5. Again, like I said, it was 3 meters when I measured it in Google Earth, but since I scaled everything down by 2, it's got to be 1.5. And we gotta look to see where that other one is. I'm not actually seeing it right now. Did I have the right? It is on the x-axis. Okay, there they are. Oh, I'm seeing some. No, that isn't them. Wow, already having troubles, guys. I wonder if I need some... I might need some actual geometry here, so if I extruded this... Okay, yeah. Maybe I'll just extrude it on the y-axis, and that way I don't wreck that width up. Or how would that work? Ah, I see what's going on here. I think I need to apply rotation and scale. So, Control A, rotation and scale. Would that help? Nope. Okay, but the modifier is working. It's just being weird. So let's go back here. If we go, it looks like. Okay, I have a game plan. What I'll do. Let's delete this edge. And, well, now that edge appears. Isn't that weird? But as long as it stays there. As soon as I delete those, they disappear. Interesting. Well, figured out one thing anyways. I'll just leave these vertices here then. Well, that won't work because it'll mess up our... our origin, our center point. So I'm going to extrude this out this way, and then in fact I should keep track of how far I extruded that, so I'll do that over. Okay, minus 0.2390. Okay, then we'll extrude it out this way. 0.2390. Alright, cool. And our offset doesn't look like it's working right. If you were to ask me, it's thinking 1.5 meters, but it's got to be. Let's see. I'm going to count these real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I better count the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and a little more. Okay. So I need 26 of these. And it looks like, so the last one's going to end right there. You can see the seam right there where the jetway connects to the concourse. So that's an easy way to tell where to what to put the offset at, because maybe this is full size. I gotta. Did I make it full size? The way it's behaving, I think maybe this is scaled up all the way, which I might have done for exporting it or something at one point. But in this case, since I haven't figured out a different way, and again, there's always a little inaccuracy in measuring in Google Earth anyway, so I'll just get this one centered with the connection point on that jetway there. Oops. Try 3.8. 3.3. I mistyped and then I erased it, so okay. 3.28 then. This again can be triangle there. Okay, so we have 25 seams and a couple more. So what maybe I'll do now is apply this, and then go back here and figure out which of these things need to be columns. So one, that's a column right there, I think. Then we have 1, 2, another column, then 1, 2, another column, 1, 2, another. Okay, kind of see what's going on there for at least the first two. Look, I think it's gonna change up eventually, but that's okay. So these two, we can delete them, and then I know the next two we can delete. Cool. Let's go back now. I can tell you right now that it's looking like these columns need to be narrower. Perhaps. Let me look back here in Blender. Yeah, they are maybe a bit wide. Didn't look quite so wide when I'm in perspective mode, but they still look a bit wide. So what I'll do is just undo a couple operations. If I could. I'd like to get that modifier back. There we go. And I'll make this thing a little narrower, which means the offset's going to have to be changed. So I'll move these I actually have to scale the whole thing. So I'll scale on the x-axis. That looks better. And then I can just select one of these vertices. I have vertex snap on, so I can just snap it to the vertex there. And I'm pretty confident that's closer to what we want. I need to reset the origin again, so object transform, origin to geometry. And then again I'll increase this offset 25.3.58 maybe. That's pretty close, but okay. Always the more time you spend on these things, the more accurate they come out in the end, so it can be worth it on these simple steps to take your time and get it right the first time. That's looking better. I'm not sure if I'm going to make those any thinner, but what I actually could do is decrease the count now, and well, that wouldn't be a good idea because they're not necessarily evenly spaced when you get down here. Let's see if they are or not. So we have pattern continues, skip 2 column, skip 2 column, skip 2 seams, column. Basically there would be a column there, but there isn't. But it would still be evenly spaced, so skip 2 seams, column, which there isn't one, but it's kind of there. Two seams, column, 2 seams, column. Okay, so instead we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We just need 9 pillars, and if we do that, our offset's going to have to be different. It's going to have to be, well, that's 3.57 times 2 times 3. Okay. 3.57 times 3. Hopefully this works out. 10.71 is going to be our new offset. Just type that in. 10.71. And our count, we'll drop it down to 9 now. Perfect, it worked out just like I wanted it to. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Again, it's just a matter of figuring out whether I like the width of those columns or not. But they look fairly close. Maybe a little wide still. All right. So, really close. I gotta I'm gonna put it into perspective view mode here. Sometimes that can help. It looks close enough, I think. Geez, it's so hard to tell sometimes. I could measure it. That can help. getting a ground level view here. And we'll just measure one of these columns. Tools, ruler. Hopefully I can get this to work. It's saying it's about 0.65, 6 something, right around 0.65-ish meters. So let's test that out here. So go to our grease pencil, ruler protractor. Let's see if we can get this thing to actually work. Might have to be in object mode for this. Nope. It's not working. That's annoying. What's going on here? Activate line. So we have a line there now. Should erase that. Alright, well, we'll measure the difference then between these vertices if that's not going to work for us. Annoying as that seems. Okay, coordinate of this vertice, x coordinate is 0.23899. .23899. Okay, so that's going to be 0.23899 times 2, which is 0.5. And what did we say here about 0.65? So according to this, it's about, they might be a little small. So that kind of tells me that, well, then they're about right, I guess, because kind of that possibility for error. They look about right. Okay. Need to turn off the X-ray or the image. So we have those laid out now. Most likely what I'll do now is try and just get the doors, and looks like there's a little kind of open area under here. So I'll get those laid out next. And I'll also make a decision on how much of this I want to model and how much I just want to kind of texture. So what we could do to make our lives a little easier, just make a couple loop cuts. And the first one would be center. I'd probably just go ahead and put one right in the center either way. Now I'll duplicate one of these vertices, move it up. And this is where I struggle because I don't know the metric system, so was it about 3.3 meters per foot, so foot to meters. I'll just Google that. Use its handy little unit converter. Okay, 11 feet. I already have a couple of things measured out here, so I'm gonna move this vertice up 3.35. That definitely wouldn't, that's not right. It should be 5.5 feet, because we're Give me 1.67. Then I'll just grab these here, move it down. Vertex snap should be on. Okay, there's the height of my doorway stuff, kind of. Okay, and then I'll just go to Tools, select all, remove doubles. That removed the vertice. You can see that right here. So there's only one here now. Cool. Okay. It'd be nice if I could extrude that, but maybe I'll apply the modifier next. I'm kind of second guessing myself. I'm thinking maybe these things are still a little too large, because the way this vertice lined up, it did tell me the scale was cut in half, so that would suggest to me that 0.5-ish in width is actually a little too... Let's see, what would that mean? Yes, it is a little too big. I'd need to be closer to 0.3 or 0.4. So if I made these slightly smaller, scale on the X. Alright, so now they're even smaller, guys. And I have to reline these up. And that's okay, but it's going to take a couple seconds. If I can see where these things are at. View my image again, which might make things hard to see. So we're just turning up the offset here. And that looks just about right. Maybe 0.5. Or a little less. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, I think I even like that better. Okay. So, let's make sure I didn't get that quite lined up. With that corner there, so I'll do that. Mesh, form, object mesh, transform origin to geometry. Okay, and that should still be lined up fine. Okay. I'll apply this now. Try to anyways. Gotta be in object mode to do that. Now I'm back in edit mode, and I'll start making faces here. Maybe I'll just make one, and I'll go ahead and delete this plane. I don't see any need for it. I'll delete the faces, yeah. There we go. And I need to extrude this back a certain distance. Doesn't look like much, just a little bit, and that'll be for the first three. Then we got this big inset area with the one column coming all the way down, and then these are not inset at all. Alright, so just shove those in a little bit, and then the question is, how similar are these? I can't tell what that is. I thought it might be a door, but I don't think it is. So probably need separate ones in the end, because they all look different. That's okay. So I'll just duplicate this bit, and I'll actually need these side faces too. Select one of the vertices as the active one. Shift D again. Vertex snap is on. Shift D one more time. There we go. Select all, press W, and then say remove doubles. Awesome. And then we have the one that is kind of, I can't tell again because it's just too hard to see back in there with Google Earth, but disappointingly I'll have to kind of just guesstimate on this one. So maybe what I'll do is create faces here and extrude these back so far. Probably not back too far. I mean, as much as I know, that's about as, I mean, that they could be that far back, they could be further, but I don't think they're really any further than that. Gotta pay attention to how high the door openings are. They come straight up to the top here, it looks like. Okay, and it really looks like, I was thinking I might have looked at this wrong, but there really is no kind of insetting here like there is over here. I mean, it's actually a completely different texture, so we can work with that. And again, I'll have to cut these two planes as well for the column here, so maybe I'll do that real quick if I could figure out a good way to do that. Maybe I'll just loop cut these two. Select the appropriate vertices. Just move them this way. Not sure about what column, you know, I'm gonna need there, but let's leave it like that for now. There's really not a whole lot of things different from SketchUp once you learn all the kind of tricks. Like, I mean, by that I mean like keyboard shortcuts. And because there are some useful ones, like the one I'm pressing now, which is face, which I'm sure, I mean, it's been so long since I've used SketchUp, but I'm sure SketchUp has something similar. And yes, I don't need any faces there. And I might just, you know, end up cleaning up some of these edges at some point, but I won't worry about them right now. Okay, so then we don't have anything going on down here. So we'll just delete or just fill those in. And then, of course, the end here, we can extrude straight to the corner. If I could get this selected right. Vertex snaps on, so I'll snap to the corner. Okay, so we got that mapped in pretty well. Now, of course, we probably want some doors. So, where am I going to find doors? Well, I actually have some doors already from that other part of the concourse that's still under construction. Let's see, I just want like this door here. If I could select all the faces. I should really make this its own object. I think I do have a separate object somewhere, but I'll just copy these things. Okay, Control C, make sure that copied. Go back into my other project. Control V. Ah, that didn't work well at all. Better go back here. Figure out what didn't work. So I guess I have to duplicate this. P, separate selection. In fact, I guess I can make that its own object now. Oh well, I'll just leave it like that and just copy the object. And then as soon as I get this pasted, I'll promptly unsave these edits I just made to that project so I don't forget about them. So I'll just X this off. Yes, I want to quit. Okay, and set the origin to geometry and rotate this 180 degrees. And then we can place this door wherever we need it, or at least put the cut into the wall. This might be a little tall right now. I've got kind of, look at it here. It's actually about right. Maybe a little tall though. Looking at this picture. So, well, it's not going to affect how we cut this, so we can just cut this door in where we need it. So what I'll do, I'll just set this one to the side. I'll have Google Earth open here on my second monitor so I can see where these doors are located. Okay, so one door on the left, right, and the third space here. Alright, so I'll just duplicate that by pressing Shift D. Helps to be in wireframe, kind of X-ray mode, whatever you want to call it. It's not really X-ray, it's more wireframe mode. So one's like right there. There's another one like in the same spot but over here. Not really concerned about getting them, as long as to the eye they look like they're consistently placed. I won't worry about it. After all that fuss I made about the columns and then this, but this actually lines up with that side of the column right about there. Yeah, good. And then we have, let's look and see if there's any more doors here, but guess there's one right there. I'm pointing to myself, guys, here on Google Earth, so bear with me here while I try and figure out where this is at. So the last one, 1, 2, it's kind of almost dead center right here. And be between the jetway and the staircase as well, so okay. So it's going to be directly right at the walkway. That's another way to look at it. Right about there. Let's see if that's centered. I suppose it's a little off-center anyways in the picture or in Google Earth. Okay. We can actually go ahead and select these. If I could click the mouse, right? Select these, then select the thing we want to cut, and press Tab to go into edit mode. I like to select everything, not sure if it matters or not, but I do anyways. The knife project, make sure we're in orthographic mode, by the way. Knife project, we won't cut through. If I press cut through, I believe it would cut. I thought it was going to cut, well, because I moved my view, of course it's not going to work, but if I press cut through, I guess there's anything in here, behind here, but let's say if this front part and this back part wall here were both the same object, if I select the cut through, it would cut straight through the whole both walls, but it doesn't matter in this case. But I just gotta reset that one more time. There we go. And actually, we can go ahead and delete those, and then select these things. Move them back, but it's not going to be easy to snap them to any particular location because of where the origin is placed. And I won't need those wall pieces, so keep that in mind. If I go ahead and even just delete these parts right here, have to make new ones for that, and the top's fine. Should have like parented or linked these objects or something, so I didn't have to do this 3 times, but that's okay. It really, some of these things, they're just, unless you do like have like 10 of them or something, or sometimes not even worth messing with all that stuff. And I went and deleted that top part. I didn't really mean to do that. I think I did the same thing here. Oh well, I can just duplicate it again. But what I'll do then, since I got these cut, I'll delete those two and select this, go into edit mode. Should extrude a couple new vertices here, because I will need them. Create the faces on either side here. It's going to be inset a little too far, perhaps, the door jamb here, but Shift S, cursor to selected, and then we can go Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor, and then I can snap this right to the corner there. I can do this for all of them. Well, I'll try anyways. Alright, so we got those more or less placed. And again, this is stuff we'll come back and fiddle around with later, but you just kind of have to keep moving and get those things put in there as fast as it can before you get bored. And it looks like we have a garage door just left of the staircase, which is right here. Those staircases are going to be fun, not too overly, not too hard to make or anything. Although it might be interesting to see, what is the best way to make those staircases. Make them look substantial without using too many polys as well. So I guess what I'll do for now is sign off. I just kind of wanted to get this started. I know it isn't much yet, but again, it takes time, and I'll try to live stream as much of creating this concourse as possible, which could be all of it or could be just the important bits, but again, that's just kind of an impromptu thing, and we'll just go from here. So hope you guys find it interesting or whatever. Alright, see you all later.